It was an interesting week, putting up a poll that I wasn't really sure of what's going to come out on top, and it was a bit of combat back and forth about what's actually in the lead, but most likely. But after all of it, a slightly unexpected victor. Not that I have anything against the show or think it wouldn't have done well, but I was surprised. Early lead, and then consistently held it. Girls' last tour must be something quite special, so I'm quite excited to get into it, mainly because all I really know is one postery picture image. That's basically all I know about most stuff that I start, to be fair. And the art style is something a little out there, kind of like when I first started watching Made in Abyss. It's like, oh, this, okay, it's got its own style to it. I assume this has as well. So I'm interested to see on how they play around with it, and, you know, what else goes alongside. Is there going to be some decent music, some world building? I have no idea the plot, so I'm not even going to start to mention that. All I can really think of now is that I hope you've chosen the right show. And if you are surprised and excited or disappointed about what has been chosen, maybe head on over to my Discord and have your say in the next one. But much like pretty much every single show I do, if you're new here, look down below in the description for full links to the reactions with picture provided. But just keep the YouTube one on in the background. You can mute it if you like, just let it play. Let YouTube believe that at least someone's watching. That's what we're all here for, right? To keep the channel afloat. So, if you enjoy anime, if you enjoy Girls' Last Tour, if you've just stumbled upon this while sleeping somehow and it's just auto-played on, well, you can't click off, so haha, more for you. But get a drink, because we're about to begin. Starting a little, open and ominous, just some dripping water and some reverb. Well, that was nice. Drums in the deep. This place has seen better days. They really liked their pipes. But tank? Oh no, like a half-track motorbike. Okay. Like I said, I saw the posters, so I saw kind of how they were dressed, and I had helmets, but didn't really look at it, so... Where are those lights coming from? Not the kind of music I would associate with this kind of those long shadows. Make it look like the spirit is leaving him. Yeah, not the kind of music I would have associated with this kind of scenery, environment, and vehicle. It has some traction on it, though. So, okay, now I know they're going, like I saw with the screws, but I thought it might just be props work, but there's going to be small elements of 3D models and camera movement, which didn't look too off considering. But what an intro, building it up of just complete emptiness and darkness. A bunch of... Yes, that's what I just said. But gotcha. Is I mean, you don't need to point out the obvious. Why they need to preserve the oil? Preserve the oil? I mean, yeah, they don't need the light per se. Is that a rifle in the back as well? Is this a war? Series about war when you got outfits like that and a rifle? And the half-track being a big bit of it. I think she's going to be holding her to any dumb decisions then. One that tries to pass off blame. Just don't flip it on the stairs. Well, what kind of facility was this to be so big you need a vehicle to get through it, and this dilapidated to this point? But well, at least she's not complaining about the dark. Was that a sigh of relief? So, finally. No need for anyone to stand watch and keep guard. She is a violent sleeper. What is that kind of snoring? Also, is that meant to be like a old German helmet? I wonder what she's dreaming of. But I was also thinking, if that was meant to be German, what about the other one? Is it... what are they called? Bondi? The old British World War II. I think it's World War II. And one, actually. Helmets. But the art style being a little malleable might be the right word. Being able to squash and stretch. Like when you say, oh, I'm hungry. If it continues like that, rather... okay, we are getting a rundown of everything and how... what happened. So what, they were separated, told to go at a young age to what saved them from the oncoming conflict? Wow. Didn't expect that early on in episode 1. Keeping rations to herself. What is she eating to make that kind of noise? And she wakes up without a pillow. Ah, yeah, that would do it. Yeah, they can... yeah, the art style is going to keep being a bit loose. That reminds me, I've seen Evangelion. What are we... testing for wind? It's the first sign that there's, what, a crack to the exterior, an exit? What a wake-up alarm! If that didn't work, yep, just try again. You find a way to the surface. Nice hair. Is she the best navigator, though? Can she even tell where the breeze is coming from? Have they lost it? Maybe get a second opinion. But from that intro of the world and how they got to their current predicament, and, traveling just the two of them, and there does seem to be a light at the end. Is it going to just, follow them on a search for food throughout the entire series? I wouldn't mind a kind of like Wasteland Survival-esque show. They've been accustomed to the dark for too long. They were molded by it. It's like the first emerging from a vault. Actually, not a... It was so bright through the door, and yet we're in the dead of night with just the stars. That's just how long they were journeying down there. Definitely seen better days. Wait, hang on, was that entire network down there just under the city? They're out. Time for lunch. How much do they actually have left? Don't think they can exactly go farming for more. Just a small ting of the soup hitting the metal cup. Ah, so savor it. How many times are they going to melt into little animated puddles? It will blind them. How terrifying. What a sight to behold on their first night outside of the darkness. Now they only have to worry about if they're going to have the next meal. But to come out in what? The Perseoid meteor shower? Interesting camera movement. Hopefully they're not going to decide to use crumpled up steel as a slide from that. Did they have a party? Slightly different than a party, yeah. Hit. So what, you got a spotter and... Well, that went off. Yeah. But she was happy with that shot? It must be the cold is interfering with the barrel. How much ammo do they have in order to just play around like this? And what gun is that? Is it modelled on anything in particular? Because it looks familiar. But if you're going to have some sort of munitions out here, a bolt-action rifle, not too bad. Is it less likely to seize up and jam if you can just... Is there? Now, what is left in this wasteland of a place? True. Scavenging around for a weapon, but in good condition. Yeah, that's the difference. Yeah, they're not gonna take that. Yeah, they're edible. Can they trade out their little half-track? Well, what's with the fisheye lens type? It's high in iron. Actually try it. If this is going to be the humor all the way through, I'm here for it. And what, actually questioning the frivolity of war, its usefulness. Well, they just stumble across a airbase. Is that what it's just, you know, lying naturally? Would it make their journey easier? At least with a massive frame like that, it might actually house something of use. Get another box. The size of it? Likely. Many a reason. And once you start separating yourself off onto camps, it becomes easier to commit heinous acts. At least they've got a little shelter from the snow if they need it. True. Well, yeah, if you go down to base needs, hunger, food and water would be something worth fighting for, at least. Well, I don't know about killing for. Hey, there's a weapon for you. She has some leg strength to be able to pick that up. She didn't even look over to see what it was. That's edible. As much as they can stuff their pockets with. Rations. If you've got a whole bunch of MRE packs. Yep, I really hope it continues with those little moments. At least now they've found all of that, there's no need for war. Huh? Huh. What's the plan here? What are they doing? I mean, they're trying to get it to move. You know, they're counterweighting each other. What's the plan here? They're a little high up. Good thing there's snow. What do they think? Rather than go by land, let's, yeah, take to the skies. I'm sure they've gone through the rigorous testing to make sure it's all safe. Now they've experienced it. Well, show's over. That was fun. Living off of ration. Is it though? It says it's chocolate flavored. There, you just have to believe it. I guess if you don't know any food other than these kind of packs, then well, you can't complain, can you? Especially in a world like this. Can't exactly get some eggs Benedict. I see. So how are they going to... The game was rigged from the start. Didn't they have a whole bunch more back in the bike? See, after knocking war, and why did it start? It all seems so unimportant. This is why. Oh, she's learning. Spit it up. Let her have half. Oh. She won't learn like that. How many times is she going to be the victim of her own consequences? So, I do like the fact that it is showing, okay, we found some food, and it's not just kind of like this ever-present thing. Now, so they are journeying for a while through this wasteland. Good for you. How is she going to turn the tides in the future? Is it wise to waste energy when you don't know where your next meal is coming from? Not the best of food sources, but emergency water and that. Why did the snow just make me hungry? And finally, there was peace in the world. So, as a introduction to both this world and these two characters, if we have people that are kind of not desensitized, but not brought up in a world where they understand what war is, they were sent off at a young age, and they're trying to make sense of it all, what it means and why people fought, and trying to make a life in this world. Yeah, it's like a buffet up here on this plane. then that's kind of an interesting premise, along with just how dangerous is this world still once it has destroyed itself from within. If they've come across that plane which just has a bunch of explosives in its hold, are there going to be, minefields that they're going to wander into? Are there going to be roaming bands of other survivors that they have to barter with or fend off? Depends what route it all goes, really. But if the show keeps up this light-hearted premise, then, well, I'm here for it, really. Plus, if it has things, bits and pieces in it that are reminiscent of our world and what I might recognise, well, at least then I'll go, oh, I know that, kind of. But also, since we are constantly on the brink of some sort of new conflict or another, having something to look back and see the kind of, well, not inevitability of it, but the final stages, what happens once we have fought. There's not much left. If you look at certain towns in a certain country at the minute, it is just rubble. Wow. What have you gained there? But I do think that the setup where had the first half of the episode just be in darkness, showing off the isolation of those two characters, them journeying through this with basically nothing but themselves, and needing to actually take into account, we need the oil, we need the fuel, we need the food, don't go wasting any of it. This is a precarious situation, even if the characters themselves take it a little lightly. I mean, you got to make best of a bad situation. Why can't you laugh? Who's going to tell you off when you're the last two around? Some might say, don't touch stuff you don't quite understand. If you find some plastic explosives, that might be one of it, but I think if it is in this kind of alternate history, with the rifles and the uniforms that we've seen, at least they wouldn't accidentally go off. It's not quite as unstable as nitroglycerin. But what else is out there? Just climbing onto random, fuselages. Did they check its structural stability? What if they start just going through, the rust eats through, and they get some sort of sepsis? It's quite difficult to get a tetanus shot around here. But like I kind of brought on with its art style, having that duality, the seeming realism in the backgrounds, the environments, the tanks that they come across, mixed with their rather more fluid art direction in the characters, separating off characters from war itself. If it was a little more detailed, a little more human and realistic, I think it would be a bit harder to show off what the message, if there is a message, I'm just pulling that out of my ass, of what war means and what happens everywhere. Because you wouldn't be able to detach from it quite as easily. So I'm enjoying that. Especially because it's a little easier to then go into straight violence. The amount of times that girl has had a punch to the face or a stomach just in this episode alone. Completely deserved. But having the two characters be set up pretty decently. You got one who's not really too fussed in the situation, makes light of the situations, eats all the food, holds a loaded weapon to one of them. And then you got one who is a bit more, wary of their current predicament, their rations, what they're going to have to do with what little they've got left and how long it's going to last them. They'll probably bounce off each other quite well. But I can say that so far, good choice. Everyone that voted on that poll has picked out a show that is both interesting, both in concept and so far execution, as well as just the general idea of it all. Well, that would fall under concept, but I do have a distinction in my mind what I mean there. If it's going to be a slice of life-esque survival comedy, we're probably in for a good show. And I don't really know what more to say about it, but seeing multiple styles. Was it I still don't know that weapon. I would say like a Gewehr or something, but it wasn't a Gewehr. So I'm sure someone down there will tell me in the comments what weapon it actually was. But multiple styles of helmets. The vehicle they were driving in, is it going to be taking from hodgepodge of different nations and its styles and equipment? I think I need to catch up in my historical knowledge there. See if there's anything I can point out without being told. But episode 1 down, what did you think? Is it a show you've seen before? Is it your first time watching? Are you excited for what the future holds? Both in the real world with this as a potential outcome, or just continue watching anime? Because if it's this that we get, I'm not going to complain. So let's try and continue the adventure, as long as we don't run out of fuel. But to get there, you need to join me for the next one. So if I entertained you, if I did anything of note, let me know down below. Leave a comment, like the video, maybe even subscribe to the channel if you don't want to miss out future uploads. But definitely take care of yourselves. Like I said before, jump onto my Discord if something there takes your fancy as well. But get a bit of rest. Got a long day ahead of us. So I'll see you in the next one. If you too would like to help me through the wasteland that is YouTube, its algorithm, consider joining onto my Patreon. Though I am not low on rations, the lack of any sort of ammunition in my corner really does hurt the channel. So, if you would like to join my ever-growing army, you can be alongside the likes of Sal, Guado, Kite, Ruben Villamara, Wolfie Sensei, and everyone else. And without them, I really would be stuck. So once again, thank you.